Yo, what's up guys? Josh the Grinder here, and we are back at Resorts World. We've been here for a few nights in a row, and we've been doing well. So 7 wins in a row, looking to make that number 8. And I think the focus of this session is actually, the last 2 sessions, I was up pretty big, and then I would lose like a big hand to end the night. So just playing tight, playing right, playing position, even when I'm up big, just because sometimes I get too like loosey-goosey when I'm running well. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the main focus for this video. Obviously, I want to continue to play well starting from the get-go so that I'm not like in the hole starting the session. But yeah, another focus is just to like walk away with a maximum stack, right? Instead of like donating some right when I'm leaving. So yeah, super excited to grind. I feel like this is such an exciting journey for me. As you guys know, I'm on my road from lifelong fish to profitable poker players. So we're looking just to continue the streak and build out the bankroll. So with that, I'm gonna go grind a 1-3 session at the Resorts World.
So in this session, I got coolered by my glasses. I accidentally deleted my footage. So fortunately, I have at least one hand, which isn't too special, but at least it's something. So I'm on the button here. The hijack limps, cutoff makes it $25, and I have ace-5 suited, so I make the call, and the limper and the hijack comes along. Flop comes 6-4-2 with the diamond draw on board. So I basically have a gut shot and an over. So the hijack checks, the cutoff continues for $25, and I go ahead and make the call. The hijack gets out of the way. The turn is a 10 of diamonds, bringing the front door flush draw in, and the action goes check check. The river is a 5 of clubs, so when the opponent checks over to me, who is someone I play with quite frequently and he's a pretty solid player, I go ahead and just check back since I do have some showdown value, and he shows Queen 9 offsuit, which was a bit surprising since I felt like this is a bit loose for his range even, but yeah, we'll take it down. Honestly, didn't do anything special here. You could have argued I could have made the fold on the flop, but I just felt like with the gut shot and over, yeah, I wasn't really gonna go anywhere, especially with position.
Yo, what's up guys? Josh here, and just wrapped up my session at Resorts World. Pretty long session. We played for 5.5 hours. Started off pretty poorly, honestly. Made a few bad plays, like chasing flush draws, and then also like trying to make a massive bluff against someone that is kind of a calling station, or is like a pretty big calling station, and I just didn't size up enough. So I was in for like 700 total, so like 400, and then rebought, like just topped off my stack up to $300. But then I hit a few big hands and started playing better, running well, and then yeah, we were able to make a profit of 450. So we cashed out for 1150, in for 700, out for 1150. So $450 in just under 5.5 hours. So super happy with how I played, and that's basically the sun run. Or I think I'm just playing well. I was like telling my coach Arrow, like, the sun run continues, and he's like, you're actually down pretty big this session, and then you went up, so that's just good play. So yeah, I think for me it's still weird to consider myself a winning player, just because I have so much like data of being like such a bad losing player fish that even though I'm winning right now, it doesn't feel real, right? So with that being said, I think for me it's all about just trying to make the right plays, you know, positive EV decisions, and then get the hours in, and then build up that data that you know, shows I'm a profitable grinder.
Tomorrow.
Yo, what's up guys? Josh here, and today's August 1st, first day of the month, and we're here back at Resorts World. We've been here for the past few nights, have been playing well and getting some good results. And today we're actually on an 8-game win streak. So as you guys know, we're on the road to profitable grinder quest. I've been a lifelong fish, essentially, losing player. But now that I'm getting coaching by Arrow Poker, who is one of the biggest 2-5 crushers here in Vegas, I feel like my game has been doing much better. Honestly, I'm just approaching the game of poker much more differently now, and looking to get more hours in, just because even though we're winning right now, it could just be variance. So I want to get enough hours to just prove that I'm a winning player. So we're gonna hit the streets of Resorts World. The focus of today's game will just be to not start in the hole. I say that every episode, but I feel like I keep starting down the session. And then also not spewing when I'm up. So I think I did a good job yesterday not spewing when I was up. And then finally, keeping mental composure. So if I take a bad beat, just getting up, taking a break, and not tilting. But with that being said, let's head on in to play some poker.
Okay, so in this session, I'm under the gun with 9-7 suited, so a suited gapper, and I go ahead and limp for $3. The low jack raises to $10, and the cutoff, big blind, and myself come along. Flop comes 10-8-9 rainbow. I flop middle pair as well as an open ender. However, since I'm out of position, I go ahead and just check, and the action checks around. The turn is a 5 of spade, now improving my hand to a flush draw. So now I go ahead and lead for $20 to try to build the pot. The low jack to my left calls, the cutoff gets out of the way, and the big blind, who's a player from Seattle who's quite aggressive, he goes ahead and check raises to $80, and I go ahead and make the call as well as the person behind me. The river is an ace of club, and now the big blind goes all in for $310, and with just a pair of nines, I don't think I can make the call here. He possibly could have had a set, 2 pair, straight. I just feel like I'm not good here, and it's pretty much a slight overbet, so I go ahead and get out of the way, and so does the low jack. I don't really like this hand, to be honest, because 9-7 suited is just a fold in hindsight. I'm not sure why I limped here. I think I was just playing too loose, just because under the gun is like the worst position aside from maybe like small blind and big blind. But yeah, I should not be in this hand, and I get punished because I lose the pot. So in this hand, I'm in the low jack and look down at ace jack of the suited variety. So I go ahead and bump it up to $15. And the cutoff actually 3-bets me to $40, which is not a massive 3-bet. It's a little bit over a min raise. So because I'm suited, I go ahead and make the call. I felt like if I was offsuit, this is just a fold here. And the flop comes 9-10 queen. So we flop the nut straight, but there's a heart draw on board. I go ahead and check, and then the cutoff bets $20, and I check raise to $50, and the cutoff comes along. The turn is now a king of hearts, which improves us to a better straight. However, it brings in the front door flush draw, and I go ahead and bet $100, and the cutoff gets out of the way. This card actually kind of killed my action because I could easily be repping a flush here. In hindsight, I would have liked a donk bet on the flop just because of the hard draw, but at the same time, it's heads up, so maybe it's not needed. Had this been multi-way, I feel like the donk bet would have been preferred just because there's been multiple instances where I missed a bet on the flop, flopping like middle set or even a straight, and then yeah, I just get outdrawn or lose the hand. So we take this one down, and you know, pretty content with my play here. All right, in this next hand, I look down at ace jack suited again, but this time of the hearts variety in the low jack. So I go ahead and open for $15, and the cutoff, who's the aggressive player from Seattle, 3-bets me to $40. Again, since I'm suited, I go ahead and make the call. However, I don't have position on him, so I'll be playing this hand out of position, which is one thing to note here. Flop comes 8-6-5 with 2 hearts, so we flop the nut flush draw as well as 2 overcards. I go ahead and check, and the cutoff bets $70. With the nut flush draw, I'm going absolutely nowhere, so I go ahead and make the call. The turn is the perfect card. It's the king of hearts, giving us the nut flush and pretty much the nuts on this board. So I go ahead and check for deception just because I feel like he's going to fire again. And he takes the bait. He bets $150. And then now I check jam for around $333. And he goes ahead and makes the call. The river is a 2 of clubs. I table my hand and we're good. He probably had like ace king or potentially pocket aces, overpair. He might have even had a set of kings here. But I'm very happy with taking this pot down. I just felt like ace jack suited against a pretty small 3-bet's way too nitty to fold, and because we were like relatively deep in the sense that we had over 100 big blinds, I felt like calling here was the right move. And yeah, obviously we run good in this hand because we hit the nut flush and take it down. In this hand, I look down at pocket jacks under the gun, so I bump it up to $15. A guy in middle position calls, and the loose aggressive guy from Seattle is in the cutoff again and raises to $60. With pocket jacks, I don't really want to 4-bet here when I'm out of position because he's capable of 5-betting me and putting me all in. So I'd prefer just to flat call here, which is exactly what I do, and middle position gets out of the way. Flop comes 7-3-4 with 2 diamonds. I go ahead and check. The cutoff c-bets for $60 and I make the call. The turn is a 9 of diamonds, bringing the front door flush draw in. However, I'm holding the jack of diamonds, so this card is not the worst thing in the world, and the action goes check check. The river is a 4 of hearts, pairing the board, so Now if he had like some random 2-pair like 9-7, it gets counterfeited. However, I still lose to any flush as well as overpair. So I go ahead and check just because I don't really know where I'm at here. Perhaps if he had ace king and wanted to fire, I could bluff catch. But honestly, I felt like I was good. However, when he bets out $105, which is around 40% of the pot, I can't go anywhere and make the call and get shown the bad news as he had pocket queens. So I don't think there's really much I could have done in this situation. Perhaps I could have tried to rep the diamonds. However, he's not really folding here. And if a fourth diamond came, I would have won this hand since he didn't hold any diamonds with his pocket queens. So I feel like this was just kind of like a setup hand in the sense that queens versus jacks on a low board is just not ideal. If he had bet bigger on the river, perhaps I could have gotten away from the hand, but I just felt like his sizing was just small enough for me to call. But perhaps that's not the right logic. I know that typically if someone's bluffing, they're going to bluff bigger and it makes you more inclined to call. However, in 1-3, I feel like people often underbluff. So overfolding on the river to large bets can actually be profitable. So in the final hand of this session, I'm on the button with ace-jack offsuit. So when the under the gun +1 limps and the hijack opens at $15, I go ahead and make the call and the limper comes along. Flop comes 4-10-6 with the club draw on board. When both players check over to me, I go ahead and bet $25 just to try to take the pot down. And I do have 2 overcards, so I have some outs. However, both players tag along, so we're gonna go off to see a turn. Turn comes the 8 of diamonds, now bring in a double flush draw on the board. And when both players check over to me, I go ahead and fire again for $75 and I take it down. I feel like this hand is a good example of the power position just because both players were showing weakness in the sense that they weren't betting themselves and didn't really raise my bet on the flop. However, maybe I just got lucky and just continued. I do like my line here though, just because the bet line is a lot stronger than bet check bet. I feel like if I did a bet check bet line, 2 things could have happened. 1, I could have had a non-believer, or 2, someone could have improved and actually like beat me if they weren't beating me already. So pretty happy with this line, and another reason why it's better to play pots in position.
Oh. Windy as fuck outside, but just wrapped up my session. So yeah, another positive session. Started out a little rocky, but then was quickly able to win a few big hands and then get into the green. So shorter session today, played for around 3.5 hours, and then I was in for a total of $500 and then cashed out for $980. So that's a profit of $480 in 3.5 hours. So we'll take it. Win number 9. Feeling good. Like, I don't know if I can't tell if I'm just like running really well or playing well or both maybe. It feels weird to like walk into a casino, play poker, and then walk out with money just because I was someone who used to like always lose money. But yeah, that's gonna wrap this video up. I'll probably go to Resorts World in the next video. But yeah, stay tuned for my journey from going from a losing player to a profitable poker player. And I'll see you guys in the next one.